Hello, my dear students. Welcome to the YouTube channel on Civil Brains. So, in this lecture, I'll be taking the entire sequence of a construction, right from the excavation to the entire slab casting, how it has to be done. It will be around 40 to 50 minutes, where I'll be showing step-by-step procedure for all these things. Okay, and all these are my pre-recorded classes on different subjects like quantity estimation, drawing, reading, site engineering, basic project planning, then advanced drawing reading course, and there are almost, and then the interview preparation courses. So if there is anyone interested to buy all these courses, you can always WhatsApp me on this number so that you can buy the courses from the Udemy. Even you can go to Udemy and check the price and all. So most of the time the price will be like 1500, 1600, but you'll be getting all these courses, each course is for 400 rupees, and this is the exact price what you can see on the Udemy. Yeah, so now we'll go with the step-by-step procedure of all the lecture, right? So this is how it is. We'll start with the basics of civil engineering. We all know what is cement, right? Anything which is a binder, we call it as a cement. So what is concrete then? It's a mixture of coarse aggregate, fine aggregate, and cement, and you add water to that, it becomes a mixture of concrete. Then what is the point in going the RCC? Because concrete is strong in compression, but it is weak in tension. In order to take care of the tension, we try to make use of RCC, where we try to insert the reinforcing bar into that so that it becomes strong in compression and also the tension. Now, why only we are going to use rebar? There are different conditions for that. The first is since the thermal expansion between the steel and the concrete is similar, almost similar, we go with that steel as a rebar for the RCC, right? Other than that, there are many points here, but all those things I have covered in my course. You can learn from there. Since we have a time constraint of around 40 to 50 minutes, I'll be just giving you a step-by-step introduction. Then in the market, we have different diameters of the bar, like different grades of bar. We have FE 250, 415, 500, 550 and all. Now, what is this D and all? We have seen that in the course. You can learn from the courses. And this is how the different grades of bar are available in the market. Different diameters, coming to the different diameters, we have 8 mm, 10 mm, 12, 16, 20, 25, and 32, even 36, 40 mm bar are also available, but it depends on what construction you're doing. For a normal residential and a commercial project, bar diameter from 25 to 12 to 25 is sufficient. Now the length of one complete bar is 12 meter, which comes out to be roughly 39.2 feet. You can take it as 40 feet. Yeah. Now coming to the different diameters of the bar, like I mentioned, these are the different diameters of the bar, and this is the area of a single bar. And if somebody asks you to find the weight of the bar, you have to use this formula of d square by 162.5, where you're going to get all these answers, right? Now, the first thing is that we should know what is the difference between a nominal mix and a design mix, which I have covered in my course. So quickly, if I want to tell nominal mix, in nominal mix, what will happen? The ratios are fixed. Whereas in the design mixes, the ratios are not fixed. You have to do the mix design. Let if I say M7.5, M10, M15, and M20, here the ratios are fixed. For M20, it is 1:1, 1.5:3. For M15, it is 1:2:4. So here the ratios are fixed. Whereas in design mixes, we don't have any ratios fixed. We need to make use of a code book like IS 10262. With the help of that, we have to do the manual calculation, or you can prepare Excel sheets accordingly. And through that, based on the condition, based on the requirement, you have to prepare a mixed design. So that is a basic difference what I've given between a nominal mix and the design mix. But in my course, what I've done is I've given you all this explanation in a more better way. I've shown you the practical video of that also, like how the mixed design is done practically on the site. Now, whenever you go to the site, the first activity that we are supposed to do is a site clearance. So let us say this is a land what we have, and I want to do a construction here. So a small, plants and all will be there. We need to take it out. So that is the first activity. What we do is called a site clearance. So once the site clearance is done, next we are supposed to do the center point marking to that, or a grid line marking. Again, you should be in a position to understand the structural drawings. So in the structural drawings, all the grids will be given. So that is covered in the course. And based on that, we'll try to draw the grid lines. You can do it manually, or you can make use of a total station, and based on that, the surveyor is going to give you all the grid lines, right? And in this way, you're supposed to learn the structural drawings, and all these things I've covered in my course, how to read all these drawings, from where, how do you get these footing sizes and all. So finally, this is how you are going to get, once you do the layout at the site. This is a layout what you're going to get. All these are my footing. I can say this is F1, F2, F3, and so footing. Now, once you do the marking, there's a concept called as working space. So what is working space? All those things we have covered in the course. So in the working space, we take an extra distance so that it is easy for the laborers to do the work, and also it will help them to keep the shuttering over the footing. Okay. And then after this, how it practically looks. This is a PCC what I have. Then I have my footing here. So this extra distance on the left, on the this side, on the right, and this side, which is called as a working space, how much you're supposed to take, it is 300 mm. But again, where it is written, it is written in IS 1200 code book. Again, in my course, I taught you how to look into that code book, what is IS 1200 and all, right? Yeah. So up to here, we have understood about the excavation and all. Now after that, once that is done, we are supposed to do the excavation. This is one of the structure which is going on. It's a basement plus ground plus a three-story building, and most of my course is covered from the same building. So here they have done the excavation here. And once you do the excavation, you don't know to what depth you have to do the excavation. Again, you have to refer the structural drawings. So in the structural drawings, it will mention like till what depth you have to do the excavation. Either it is 1.5 meter, 2 meter, and all. Again, blindly we cannot take this. Again, a geotech consultant is going to give the report, and based on that, we try to decide what should be the depth of my excavation. So finally, once you're done the excavation, this is your depth of excavation, this is your length, and this is the breadth of the excavation. And then as a site engineer, you're supposed to know how to calculate the quantity estimation for this, like how much soil I've taken out from here. Again, those things are covered in my course, where I've explained you how to take out the excavation quantity, the PCC quantity, and all. And finally, you can see this is how the excavation has been done for the footings. And once that is done, like I mentioned, you have to tell me what is the total soil that you excavated from here. Again, you have to apply certain formulas here, and even that is covered in the course. With the help of Excel sheet, I have taught you how to carry out all those calculations, right? Yeah. So once that is done, next you're supposed to do the, I mean, with the help of auto level, you're supposed to check whether the depth of excavation, let us say if it is 1.5 meter, whether you have done exactly 1.5 meter or not. For that, you have to set up the auto level, and with the help of auto level, try to check whether the depth has been properly achieved at the site or not. Now, once you know how to use this auto level, you're supposed to know what is temporary benchmark, all right, and how to make use of this temporary benchmark in the projects and all. So all those things I've explained, like how to make use of the temporary benchmark, how to carry out the auto level, what are the different parts of the auto level, and all those things, how to read the staff reading and all. Okay, yeah. Again, all these are the calculations how we are supposed to do, because directly you cannot take the excavation depth. You should be knowing what is the RL of that. Then you should be knowing what is the staff reading from here, and based on that certain calculations we are supposed to do, and finally we can do all those things. Again, this is the excavation what we have done. So for this excavation, I taught you how to carry out that with the help by placing auto level here, how you can take the levels from here, right? So that is how it is. So up to here we have understood how to do the excavation and all. So in the next we'll see how the PCC has to be put and all. Yeah. So once you do the excavation, you're supposed to take certain safety measures and all. That is about shoring and all. So that is also covered in my course. Then once that is done, like you can see, you're done the excavation, but you have to do the barricading to that, so that people don't come and fall into that. So it's a safety measure what we're supposed to take care of. So once you're done with the excavation, you're supposed to do the preparation for the soil for the PCC. So you've done a very good excavation here. And then once that is done, this is a final thing what you can see here. And once that is done, you have to make use of the plate compactor to do the compaction. And once that is done, next is we are supposed to put the PCC. So before putting the PCC, there is a planning thing what you're supposed to do. So when you do the excavation, it's not like you do excavation for entire building. I mean, if there is 100 footings, you cannot do all the 100 footing excavation at once. You have to do certain planning to that. So even that is also taught in my course. So if it is a small project, you can do the excavation at once. But in a larger project, let us say if you have 100 footings and all, you cannot do all the 100 footings excavation at once. It has to go in step by step. And also you have to see what is a priority area. And based on that, we are going to carry out the work. Yeah. So once that is done, next is the laying of PCC. You can see this is how the PCC has been laid. Usually the thickness we keep around 75 to 100 mm, right? And why this PCC has to be put, all those things is covered in my course. And for the very same building, you can see it here. Once all the excavation has been done, whatever water we had got, we had done the dewatering of that. And then we are going to put the PCC. And for that, we should know how to read the structural drawings, like what should be the thickness of the PCC. We can see the PCC put up, how to arrange all these things. That is also covered in my course, right? Yeah. Next is after that you have to do certain quality checklist. Directly we will not allow the concrete to be poured. we have to do the quality check. We have to check what is the grade of PCC, whether the shuttering has been properly put up or not. And after that only we'll allow the PCCs to put. Again, you should check whether it's a nominal mix design or a, whether it's a nominal mix or the design mix. Okay, and all those things you have to take care of. And finally, once you put the PCC, this is how your PCC looks. The thickness may be a 75 mm or 100 mm. So this is finally how the PCC is going to look. So you can see these people are putting a PCC here. Yeah, and finally this is how your PCC looks once it is done. Yeah, so after that, once that is done, next we are supposed to do the center line marking. I mean for the starter to be put. So again, you can see here, once the PCC has been done, we have done the marking of it. What is a column number? It's a C20 column. What is the dimension of that? I mean, which is a footing coming on that? It is a F5 footing, and which is a grid line which is intersecting that. It's a D1 8 dash is a grid line which is intersecting. Again, you should know how to take the auto level reading for the top of the PCC and all, right? Because once you put the PCC, you have to check whether the top of the PCC is matching, whether we are getting exactly 75 mm thickness or not. So that also you have to take care. So once that is done, next is we are supposed to do the we are supposed to keep the footing mesh. Okay, so once for the footing mesh, again you should know how to do the bar bending schedule. So that is called as placing of footing mesh. You can see a footing mesh has been placed here. Again, you can see a footing mesh has been placed. Again, you can see these people have kept a cover block. Now what is the importance of cover block? That is also covered in my course. What is cover block? What should be the what are different sizes of cover block? Everything has been explained in this way. And also, moreover, I have made use of IS 456 2000 code book and IS 1200 code books. Using that, we have understood all the technical concepts also. Not only the images has been shown, along with the images, the main thing that a civil engineer should know is about the code book, and he should have good fundamentals to that. So that is what this course is all about. And this is how the column are prepared. Again, I have shown all the practical site videos for all this column, not just a photo. Along with the photos, you will be learning how this practically it is executed on the site. And once that is done, you'll carry that column to the site wherever you are going to keep the footing mesh. And over the footing mesh, you are supposed to keep this column cage or the column reinforcement. So you can see it practically how they have done it, right? So this is that entire building which we had taken, and you can see all the column cage has been kept here. So again, you can see how these people have kept it, right? Yeah. So once that is done, next we are supposed to do the bar bending schedule. We should be in a position to do the bar bending schedule, because right now you can see a lot of horizontal bars and a lot of vertical bar has been kept, but we don't know how to find the cutting length of this. Again, that is covered in the course where I taught you how to find the bar bending schedule for this for the particular footing, so that you can easily do the execution on the site. Again, when it comes to quantity estimation, this is how the quantity estimation is all about. I taught you how to do the quantity estimation for the footing, how much concrete is required, how much cement is required, what is the backfilling quantities, and all those things. So in this way, you learn all these things in the quantity estimation course of mine. But a basic part of that I added in the site engineering, so that you get idea how to calculate the concrete and all, right? So you can check it here also. So this is a 14 concrete, and for the footing, I can tell how much cement bag is required, how much sand is required, how much aggregate is required, what is the total cost coming to that, and footing shuttering quantity, and each and everything that is covered in the course. These things are covered in the quantity estimation course, but a basic part of that I've added in the site engineering, so that a basic understanding we can have. Again, moving to the lecture again. So once that is done, next is you're supposed to do the shuttering for the foundation. Now there is a difference between the shuttering and the centering. We should know what is formwork, what is shuttering and all. So you can see a shuttering has been done. So once the shuttering has been done, again you are supposed to check the checklist prior to the concreting. Once the shuttering has been done, you're supposed to keep the cover block. Again, we should know what is a cover block sizes and all. And before placing the concrete, we are supposed to do the checklist. We need to check whether exactly the work is happening according to the quality or not. So you can see a few of the structures here, and I have covered all these things in my course, so that we get an idea what is checklist and all. Okay, and finally you can see everything has been prepared here, and you can see the needle vibrator, the cover block been placed here, and these people are ready so that the concrete can be poured here, right? And what is the importance of wrapping this particular column reinforcement with this bag, and what is this supports given and all, everything has been covered in the course in a more better way. Now finally, once the concrete comes to the site, you're supposed to place the concreting. You can see the concrete has been placed here, and then you're supposed to do the quality checklist also. You need to check the slump of the concrete, right? And you need to do the proper vibration of the concrete and all. And finally, once the concreting is done, this is how your this is how your footing is going to look. And finally, this is how it looks. Again, you should be in a position to calculate what is the concrete quantity required, how much cement is required, how much shuttering quantity is required. which I've shown you with the help of Excel sheet, how these things can be calculated. Now, up to here, we have understood the concepts. And then finally, these things we used to see during our college time, and practically you can see how it has been executed on the side, and that is also covered. But again, here there is a mistake. We are supposed to make use of a cover block and not to keep a stone here. So in my course, I've covered both the things, what is the right practice and what is the wrong practice, because only with the right practice we cannot learn. We need to understand what is the wrong practice, and then we can understand what is the right practice. So that is the main intention. That is why I've taken both the thing, that is a wrong practice and the right practice. Then this is called as a transit mixer, and this is a rotating drum. It keeps on rotating most of the time. And I've explained you what is the reason behind that. And also after that, vibrator is already done. And then yeah, finally this is how it looks. Then you're supposed to do the curing of your footing. Again, why the curing has to be done, that is also covered in the course. And then once that is done, you're supposed to do the deshuttering of the footing. So now what is deshuttering? After how many days you're supposed to do the deshuttering? For that, again, you have to refer the code books, and in the code book I explained you where exactly it is written, what page number it has been written. Because unless and until you don't know from the code book where it has been written, you cannot become a very good civil engineer, because it's all about the code book, and it's all about how do you understand all those things. Because as your senior may tell, maybe after 24 hours you need to remove the deshuttering, but that's not the case all the time. So again, if you have a good fundamentals of the code book, it's always better you have your own way of understanding the concepts. And then we have a curing of footing. I've explained what is curing of footing, why it has to be done in a more better way. And then these are the strength gain of a concrete which happens. And finally, this is how the curing is happening. Again, in curing we have different types. We can do the curing just by sprinkling the water with the help of a gunny bag and all, and there are different ways of doing the curing. Now once this is done, I have covered the different types of foundations and all, because right now we had seen only the isolated footing, but we have a step footing, we have slope footing, we have combined footing, we have mat foundation, we have raft foundation, both are one and the same. So all those things also I've explained what is raft foundation and all. So one very good thing what I've explained in my course is that see, anyone can read the structural drawing, but how do you understand that for the F1 footing the depth is 350, for the F2 footing the depth is 450, for F4 footing the depth is. So why is that only a 12 diameter bar has been used here? Why not a 16 diameter bar used? Why is the spacing at 175? Why the spacing is not at 200? All those things I've covered in my course with the help of Excel sheet. I've explained you how these things have to be understood. Because if you understand this, it will be very easy for you to work as a site engineer. Otherwise, just reading the drawing can be done by anyone. But if you understand the fundamentals, you can rule on the site. So that is how it has been covered in my course. And then once it is done, then you're supposed to do a marking for the footing number and all, so that you can carry out the next activity. Yeah. So once that is done, next you're supposed to tie the reinforcement for the this column, and then you're supposed to do the marking for the column, marking of the starter, because you cannot directly place your shuttering board here. You have to do the starter frame marking. So what is starter frame? This is how a starter frame looks. How you have to do the alignment, all those things is covered in my course. So all these things are called a starter frame, and these are the drawings, and through the drawings we need to understand about the starter frame. Then again, when it comes to the cover block for the column, we are supposed to give 40 mm, but again we don't know where exactly it is written 40 mm. So with the help of this code book, I explained you where exactly the clause number is written. How do you understand all these things? So that is the main intention of explaining in the course. And then the shuttering has been done. Once the shuttering has been done, you need to check whether the verticality of your column, whether it is exactly at the plumb or not. Now what is this plumb bob, how you are supposed to check, and that is also covered in the course, right? And once that is done, finally you are supposed to do the concreting of the column, but it has to be done up to the plinth beam bottom. So again, why it has to be done only at the plinth beam bottom, there's a reason behind that. So that is covered in the course. And once that is done, you're supposed to do the deshuttering of the column, because here you're done the shuttering, then you're supposed to do the deshuttering. And after the deshuttering, of course, you have to do the curing of your column. And this is how the curing will be done. You're going to wrap a gunny bag or a hazen cloth, and then you're going to do the curing of it. And then you have to understand about the what is the open stirrup, what is closed stirrup, what is two leg stirrup, what is four leg stirrup, what are the fundamentals behind this, practically how do you understand all these things. So that is also covered in the course. So you'll be learning all these things, how to understand the lateral ties, how to understand the spacing between the two lateral ties and all, right? So these are the different things what I've covered in my course. And then about the SP34, how the detailing has to be done for the single tie, for the two ties, one tie and one link and all. So that is also covered in the course. And once that is done, you're supposed to do the backfilling, you have to do the consolidation, and you have to do the backfilling up to the plinth level. And once you do the backfilling, you cannot directly pour the concrete, pour the soil at once. You have to do the filling in layers. Again, why the filling has to be done in layers, there's a reason behind that. So that is also covered in my course. Yeah. So backfilling is done. Next, you're supposed to understand what is honeycombing, how the honeycombs will happen, what are the steps you're supposed to take care of that, right? So again, once that is done, you're supposed to do the plinth beam layout. So this is how the plinth beam the PCC for the plinth beam will happen. You should know how it has to be done and all. So you can see the plinth beam PCC put up here, right? And then you have to understand the plinth beam drawings, how to read the plinth beam layout and all. And finally, you can see how the plinth beam PCC has been put. So again, you're supposed to do the anti-termite treatment. You need to understand the BOQ also. And then you're supposed to see how the shuttering for the plinth beam will be done. As a site engineer, what is your duty doing the execution of the plinth beam? That also you need to understand. So in this way, all the things has been covered, and then you need to understand about the double bar, how the double bars has to be given, and then you should understand why the plinth beam is given, what is the importance of giving a plinth beam. I've taken a case study also, so that we get a better understanding of it. Yeah. So you can see finally the plinth beam has been put up. So once the plinth beam has been put up, next you're supposed to do the column concreting. So again, for the column concreting, this is how it looks finally. You have prepared the shuttering board here, and then you're going to do the column concreting work. Yeah. So up to here, and then once the column concreting is done, again the same thing, you have to do the curing of the column, and that is how it has to be understood. So once the column concreting is done, next is you're supposed to put the beam bottom. So once you put the beam bottom, you need to understand the beam drawings for the roof, floor and all. So once that is also done, you need to understand what is acro span, what is the importance of providing acro span, how the steel board has to be kept, the shuttering board. You should understand the sizes of this. So once that is done, this is how your shuttering boards look. You'll get a 2 feet by 3 feet or 1.5 feet by 3 feet. It all depends how exactly you're going to do that. And then next you need to understand the placing of beam reinforcement. What is primary beams, what is secondary beam, what is the concept behind that. And for all these things, I have shown a practical videos and the practical site images, so that you get a better understanding of this concept. So this looks like a secondary beam for me. It all depends how the designer has done the designing, and you'll be learning all these things, like why you have provided a top 3 steel and bottom 3 steel, why there is no 4 steel at the top. Also, that is the main importance of taking this course. You'll be understanding the basics of structural engineering also, which is going to boost your knowledge also. Not only the images you are going to learn, not only the videos that can be learned anywhere. The main advantage is that you're going to learn the concepts of structural engineering, why the spacing is 150 here, why it is not 175, right? And all those things you're going to learn in the entire course. Again, this is how the concepts you're going to learn: negative bending moment, positive bending moment, what is negative bending moment, how it has to be done, how you're going to take the area of steel from the ETABS result, and all those things I've explained in my course. And once that is done, next you're supposed to place the mastic tape so that your cement slider doesn't pass through that, and then you're supposed to apply the oil over that, so that the concrete will not have a good bond with the shuttering plates. So that is how it is. So once all these things are done, next you need to understand about the types of slab, like what is one-way slab, what is two-way slab. So even that is also covered in the course. I'll quickly go through that. Now again, coming to the types of slabs, we have different types of slab: one-way slab, two-way slab. What is the practical importance of one-way slab, two-way slab? What is positive bending moment, what is negative bending moment, and then how practically your slabs are put up. Then what is two-way slab, how the steel is given in two-way slab, what is the concept behind two-way slab, practically how your two-way slab is going to look, and all those things is covered in my course. What is crank bar, what is top extra bar, how you need to understand the structural drawing, and what is written in SP34 code book, how the detailing has to be done. So that is also covered in the course. So once that is done, once you understood about the slab, next you are supposed to do the laying of electrical conduit. So this is how a electrical conduit will be done practically on the site. You can see all the electrical conduit has been done here. Then you're supposed to carry out the MEP work. If there is any mechanical people involved, if you want to put the plumbing lines and all, they're going to do the plumbing lines. If there is any cutout to be given, you're supposed to give a cutout. So you can see this is a sunk slab. So in the sunk slab, you are given a sleeves here, right? So that your water can be taken out from here. So again, this is called a sunken slab. So you need to understand the sunken slab. Next, what are the checks you are supposed to do before the slab casting? And then there are certain quality checklist you are supposed to understand. And what is chair bar? You can see how the chair bar has been kept here, right? So this is called as chair bar. Next is you're supposed to do the casting of a slab. Again, there are different process in the casting of a slab. You're doing a batching, mixing, transportation, placing, compacting, finishing, curing and all. Then you're supposed to carry out the slump test. You should understand what is slump test, how it has to be done and all. So once the slump test is done, you can see how the slump test is done practical. Then there is a cube casting also. So once the cube casting is done, slump test is done, everything is done. Yeah. So again, there is a transportation. Next, there I added the tips for young engineers, how you are supposed to carry out the work on the slab. So again, you need to understand the concept of water cement ratio and the strength of the concrete. So once the casting of a slab is done, next is you're supposed to do the curing. Again, in curing, we have different methods of curing. We can do the ponding curing, we have membrane curing, we have all those different types of curing. Next, again, the same activity will follow. Again, you will put the ground floor starter concrete. Then you should understand what is curing of slab. All those things is covered. Then what is next? Once that is done, you have to do the de-shuttering of the sides of the beams and all. Again, after how many days you're supposed to do the de-shuttering, that is also again covered. You need to understand this entire code book and all, right? So in this way, again, next comes the double bars for the staircase, how it has to be given. You can see finally once the slab is casted, this is how it looks. So you can see the entire building, how it has been done. Right now, we understood only up to the ground floor. The same activity will be carried out to the first floor also. So in this way, the entire course has been made. Again, you can see, yeah. So completely, this is how your building looks once everything is done. So the my course is completely, I mean, most of the course images and the course videos are shown with the help of this particular building, so that you get a better idea. So once that is done, this is called a starter frame for the ground, for the first floor, how you are supposed to keep the starter frame, how the arrangement has to be done, and all those things, right? Again, you can see this is your ground floor column you have done. Then you need to understand how you are supposed to do the marking and all. So in this way, the entire course has been done. And also, I hope by this time you have got an idea regarding how this entire sequence of construction has been done. Right from the excavation, we saw up to the slab casting, what all activities we are supposed to do and all. Of course, since 42 hours of a content, I cannot explain in 1 hour. It will take time. So most of the things which is required I've explained. But other than that, there are a lot of learnings to be done. You need to understand a lot of fundamentals, the concepts and all, which I have not explained it here. You need to understand what is negative bending moment, what is positive bending moment, how the steel is designed, no, what about the code books and all. So in this way, again, you need to understand the quantity estimation and all. So in this way, I've given you overall picture of my course. Of course, I missed about the beam part also. Again, in the beam, I've explained you why this top left extra is given, why this top right extra is given, why the bottom curtainment bar is given. Again, what is the importance of this negative bending moment, in the college times and all. We had understood negative bending moment, we had a positive, we had a negative. So why the top steel is given, why the bottom extra is given, all those things is covered in my course, so that you get a better idea about structural designing, and also how it has to be, and what is the importance of shear forces, why we are going to give more stirrup near the support, and I mean the spacing of the stirrup is less near the support, but it is maximum at the center. What is the reason behind that, how the load will be applied, how the shear cracks are going to appear, all those things I have covered in my course, right? So that's how the course is all about. And also you have got an idea by this time how the sequence of construction will happen right from the starting to the end. So just in case if you're interested, you can always enroll in the courses. I've given that link in the description, and you can WhatsApp on this number for combo courses and other courses. So that, like I mentioned, we have right now I explained only for the site engineering course. I have a course on quantity estimation. There's a drawing reading course. Then you can learn basic project planning. ETABS internships course is also available. So 9 different courses are available, and these are the reviews given by different students, and all these are the reviews given by the students. You can go through the reviews. Even the same review is available on the Udemy platform. So all these are the, again, I didn't explain much about the slab part. In slab, we have one-way slab, two-way slab, we have cut reinforcement, we have crank bar, and all those things. So in this way, each and everything in the recorded classes, you're going to learn all these things in a more better way. And all these concepts you're going to learn, negative bending moment, positive and all. Yeah. So I hope you have enjoyed so far whatever I explained you. So we'll see you back in the next lecture, and thank you. And also, so far we have understood only about the bare structure. We haven't understood about the brickwork part and all. So to put it in a better way, so coming to the brick part and all, we haven't understood how the block work has to be done, how the lintel chajja has to be put, how the painting should be done. So those things will take up in another lecture, where we are going to learn all this interior. So we'll see you back in the next lecture. Thank you.